air tightness. When it comes to air tightness, we also have to look at doors and windows. Now, we've got a window. This window isn't actually fitted correctly at the moment because the insulation to put around the outside, it's just been put in for purposes of getting some air tightness in. So this is going through the process of taping around a window and the things to look out for. Initially, all windows, especially with a passive house, will have some form of fixing. Often with passive house, we have brackets of some description. These need to be taken into consideration and taped over, as well as any other fixing, holes and gaps that there may be. So we've actually got quite a sizable gap around this window. Usually this would be full with a foam or an insulation or something to form as a backing, but we're going to go through the process, which is the important part we want to do today. We use an Intello, so we're using once again the Tesco vinyl and correct tape for the membrane and for the windows themselves. Now, when it comes to taping the windows, we need to make sure that that air tightness is 100% because we rely a lot on the windows being fitted correctly and being air tighted correctly. So we actually have to come onto the edge all the way around of the window. The thing is, what we don't want to do is when it comes to plasterboarding and returning anything into the window, we don't want to see it. So we really try to keep to within 8 to 10 mil onto the window. Now, when you try to tape round anything, as with the other stuff that we've covered, going around the corner with a piece of tape is very difficult. It always creases and you can't get that crease to fill. So even though we've got this gap and nothing back in it at the moment because the window's not finished, we're still going to be able to get the air tightness on. So we remember, we're going to cut a piece of tape at a workable length. Now, when coming to tape on windows, particular attention to detail must be shown. This is where your patience come in. We've done steel, we've done penetrations, we've done other stuff, and the same level of detail and concentration really needs to be set the same with this. Now, this is actually quite a particularly difficult job to do. Out of all the air tightness, this is the one that's going to be most testing to many people. So please be patient with it. Now, when it comes to being on the window edge, you're not going to be 100% straight all the time. Doesn't matter. It's the quality of the seal that counts. So if you're 2-3 mil off this, as long as you've got a really good hold onto that window with tape, then, you know, don't go pulling this off, putting it on, pulling it off again, because otherwise you're just going to get into more of a flat, damage the tape, and not do such a good job. So what I'm going to try and do, I'm only going to reveal a little bit of tape at a time. I'm going to decide how far I want to come onto the window. You could, when the windows go in, mark the windows previously with a pencil if you wished, with a light pencil, not marker pens or anything, but a light pencil, light line just to go to. I'm just going to go straight onto the window once I've made a decision on how far I'm going on. Right, I'm on the window there about 8-10 mil. Now, if I go too far, I've got just a little bit on the window there. I'm going to bring the tape in a bit at a time. I'm not going to go the full height of the window. I'm going to go a little bit at a time, and then I'm going to tuck that in square. Now, this is quite important. That when you've got a backing on this, such as a foam or an insulation that is cut square, it'll be a lot easier because you've got something to push to. But keeping this square into this corner is quite important, Because otherwise, when you put something into this, like a reveal, or plasterboard, or an insulation, you could potentially pull the tape off and put a hole in it. Okay, we actually have a good seal on the window. We have a good seal onto the interlock, or whatever airtightness membrane you're using, and we're square into that corner. That way, we're not going to damage it in any way. Now, that has to be repeated on all 4 sides. Now, brackets. Brackets. There are many different types of brackets, different lengths, thicknesses, widths. The only thing we need to concern ourselves with is it's fully covered. And there's a little 50mm bracket like this. All we really need to do is to cut a piece of tape. We go over the top. So what I'm doing is I'm lapping the tape onto the existing tape, making sure that we've got a nice tight seal all the way around. And I shall repeat that on the other one. Okay, so we've got a good overlap onto the window, nicely stuck, not too far over. We've got square into the corner, we've got the brackets taped over. Now, check, double check, make sure everything's stuck. Okay, go to do the top, and then we go to do the corner. Same applies. If you wish to have marked a parallel mark on there, please do. Again, just make sure it's not too heavy or thick. Once again, be very careful to make sure we get a good seal and only pulling the back off a few inches of the tape at a time. Again, nice and tight in the corners. Make sure all the creases I've got tape in to make sure there's no little straws, little holes for the air to travel through. And again, I'm onto the window. I've come over about 2 mil further there than the rest of it. That'll happen. This goes to what I say. It's still going to be covered by anything that we return into the window. If not, we can always take a very small little piece off that by using a steel rule and a very sharp Stanley knife. We avoid that at all costs because the potential to damage the window is quite high, and it takes and it actually takes quite a bit to do. In the corner, going to cut just a square of tape. Little, approximately 2 inches square, the width of the tape, the length of the tape. Doesn't have to be 100% accurate, just has to be a square of tape that you can handle. Now, as in before, when we did the outside corners here, we made a little square, then we pulled the back off for a triangle. Now, that works really well there. Also works really well onto a window, because what I'm going to do is going to fold that, and then I can put this into that corner, and I can spread it out and push it in to get it really tight into the corner as I take the backing off. Again, usually this would be full of an insulation or a gap filler of some description, and you'd have something to push onto. Here I haven't, but that's fine. I don't know if you can see, but that is actually real. It's got a lovely connection onto that and pulled that in tight to the corner. And this is a way of double checking that you've got no air leaks around your window. Nice overlap. Square into the corners, a good hold onto the airtightness membrane, and the brackets airtighted as well. Don't leave the air brackets. I always find it's good to do a window one side at a time. So you do the windows, do the brackets. Do the window, do the brackets, do the corner. Try and find a systematic way of working, because if you leave this and you leave that behind, you come back to it, often you don't. It gets forgotten. And that could potentially be an issue when it comes to testing. So deal in a systematic way. Do one area, finish it. Do one area, finish it. So, air tightness of a window. Now, when it comes to doors will be treated exactly the same. There's very little difference between a door and a window when it comes to Passivhaus. And that's because they're all casements, they've got the same rebates, the same seals, and we treat them the same. The only difference when it comes to a door is on the sill. It may be very much thinner than a window. But you would need to tape underneath that onto an Intello or an air tightness membrane. That, though, will be pretty much down to the make and design of your doors. But treat the doors and the windows the same.